Who's winning this war right now?
Right now, Ukraine is winning this war. Russia is not winning. Ukraine is actually taking back, Joe, more territory from the Russians than the Russians are.
They're moving the lines.
They're moving the lines. Not big, not a lot, but they're moving the lines. And as you've reported over and over, they're shooting deep into Russia. Mm-hmm. They're shooting at St. Petersburg when Putin is there. You know, they're sending that message. They can go deep. They can go all the way to the Urals Mountains, to the Arctic. So the Ukrainians have the initiative.
But for how long can they do so? Because we have to consider what they're using as munitions. Can the U.S., for example, continue to provide these things as we've deployed so many in the Middle East?
The U.S. is not providing them. Okay. You're right, Kailey. It's exactly right. These missiles that the Ukrainians are firing, they're making. These are Ukrainian drones and Ukrainian missiles that they're firing at St. Petersburg. Military targets, let's be clear, military targets, naval bases, oil export facilities. But these are Ukrainian, so they don't need permission. They do need targeting information, and we've been providing that. The United States has been providing that with others. But these are Ukrainian-made drones.
How important was that attack on St. Petersburg you refer to see these massive plumes of black smoke over the city as Vladimir Putin watched and leaders from around the world came for their version of Davos, as many have called it? That seemed to be an event that impacted perception around the world.
Joe, I think you're exactly right. This is strategic communication by President Zelensky. Yeah. He's getting into a lot of people's heads, but he's getting into Putin's head. Oh. The letter that Zelensky sent to Putin with this proposal for a meeting also was very clear. You know, Putin's getting old, and he's tired. And Zelensky invited him to have a meeting to end this war. So it's part of the strategic communication.
Well, what about the communications happening inside the Kremlin? Bloomberg has reported the finance ministry has suggested to Putin that this is not going to be financially sustainable for much longer. Are those kind of voices ones that Putin's likely to heed?
He's likely to hear them. I mean, I think he's hearing them. You're asking the right question. Will he heed them? He wants to dominate Ukraine. He wants to eliminate Ukraine. And that's what he said over and over and over, which is why the Ukrainians are fighting so brilliantly and so strongly, so bravely, because it's existential for them. But when the finance minister goes in to Putin and says, this can't last, something's got to give. And if it's not Putin, it's going to be people around Putin.
Really interesting. To what extent could the U.S. help then with more interceptors, more hardware, as Zelensky puts it, to help close the skies? Could it be determinative?
It could push Putin into a decision to end this war. That's where it's going to end. Okay. It's going to end when he realizes that Putin realizes he cannot win. And it's going to take pressure. And that could certainly help if the United States were very strong on the weapons, on the sanctions, and on the support for Ukraine.
So it's helpful that the House passed that measure.
Strong message. Strong message. Even if it doesn't get enacted, strong message to Putin, to the Ukrainians, and to the world.